Well, folks, welcome back to Good Things for Good People, the little tiny YouTube channel with great big dreams, changing the world for good. Today has been another busy day. I've been out and about all day long, running around, getting stuff done. Decided I was going to swing in real quick because I was starving and I haven't eaten all day, and I was going to grab myself a quick little bite at dinner at Denny's on my way home, just east of Columbus. And I may have made myself a bad decision. I would say they are a little light on help. There's a help wanted sign up front, and I was seated by the cook, who is also the manager, who's also apparently playing the host. And there is one lady here that is working as the server, and she has 10 tables. It is 6:03 p.m. I have never in my life ever heard the phrase at 6 o'clock, "We are not seating anymore" in a restaurant. So this poor lady is running herself ragged all over this place, trying to take care of everybody that's in here, trying to get everybody situated and drinks and food and everything else. So needless to say, she is overwhelmed and having a very bad day, or at least a very bad evening. So you know what that means? It's an opportunity for me to do my best to change her night. Now, whether that's just being kind, or whether or not that's through a tip, or whether or not that's through something else, will remain to be seen. I am so far enjoying my sweet tea and just catching up on my news. I'll see you guys in a little bit, though. Dinner at Denny's. Do the small things. Grab those low-hanging fruit. Get those easy wins, guys. It's funny. I actually have gotten a little bit of blowback about this, kind of as people thinking it's more of a self-aggrandization kind of thing, and making me look good or making me feel good about myself. And that's not what it is. I hope you guys, for the most part, don't believe that. This is just me trying to do a little bit extra for somebody, especially when I see somebody's having a bad night. That's a two-man operation. They're running a manager and a server. The server's got 10 tables, and the manager's doing everything else. And on top of that, they ran out of my chocolate pancake balls with tasty, dippy stuff. So they had to figure out how to split that off my check, and then the computer wasn't working, so I had to stand there. They're fully stressed out. So do a little extra for them. Make sure you can take a little stress off them, because it's not good for people to be under that much stress. Now, this is not what the conversation I want to have tonight is, but I just wanted to say, you know what? I could find my ways to do good deeds for good people whenever and wherever. You just got to be able to keep your eyes open. Make sure you jump on those opportunities. So welcome to Good Things for Good People. For those of you who are not familiar with this channel, it's just all about positivity, increasing the positive reach of people here on social media. Hint, hint, social media is what I want to talk about tonight. And use it for good. Use it for the power of good, to encourage each other to do good things, to encourage random acts of kindness, charity, philanthropy, online activism, whatever you want to call it. We can use this community that we're building here to be able to positively affect the world. That's all it is. That's all we're trying to do. And we're going to do it through simply just watching videos on YouTube and generating revenue to do good things with. That's it. All right, it's cold. I've got to drive another hour to get home, and then I'll film the rest of this, and I'll see you guys in just a little bit. It's cold, and I'm in a hoodie. It's cold. While I'm driving, I want to bring something up before I forget this. Something I have noticed, especially when I tend to go out to restaurants that are not like real hoity-toity. I'm in a hoodie for most of my life, or I'm in work pants, or I'm not real dressed up and fancy schmancy. So I'm out and about, typically speaking, on a more common type of thing. I'm not going out to real expensive dinners all that often. But something I've definitely noticed is a lot of folks who are blue collar working type, middle class or lower middle class or whatever we want to call working class folk, are still very interested in supporting each other. And that's probably down to the fact that they're in the same situation. it's easy to understand that somebody else is struggling, trying to meet bills and try to support a family and all that stuff when you're in the same fight. You know, rich folks, they have their own way of doing philanthropy. They can donate to foundations or found a foundation or host galas and all those big fancy schmancy things. That's their way of doing charity, and they do it their own way, and they do it, and they make a big impact. I'm not gonna say that they don't. They do. They can make a big impact because they can have a big financial backing behind what they're trying to do. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those folks. I'm not rich, so I can't just throw a pile of money at whatever my pet project is for the moment and make a difference in this world. What I can do is I can give some of my time and my effort, and I can help other people, you, use your time, which you spend on this video, to hopefully make a difference in something. Whether or not that's buying groceries for people or gas for people or toys for kids or doing things for seniors or homeless people or veterans or whatever the case. The whole point of this thing is it's a non-donation thing, right? We're not trying to pile up $100,000 and make a gigantic donation that's going to make it in the news or in the newspaper if you're still a newspaper reading kind of person. That's not really what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make an impact on a much more local, small, grassroots level, and being able to develop a YouTube channel that's going to be able to bring in revenue to do that kind of thing. I'm not saying it's not going to get to the level of being able to do $100,000 donations someday. Maybe it will. That will be awesome. But for the most part, I think where we need to keep the battle is in the trenches. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is because there were two gentlemen that were obviously truck drivers, because the Denny's that I was stopping at was at a truck stop. They had the headsets on, and they're truck drivers, so they're probably on a schedule, or they're done with their day. Either way, they're blue collar working class people, right? One whose primary language was not English, but they both were extremely nice to the lady that was taking care of us and totally understanding about what was going on, and they were very, very, just very nice and supportive of it. They could have been total pain in the ass. They could have been super grumpy about the fact that it's taken forever, but they understand she's doing the best she can. She's in a bad situation, but she's going to do her best to take care of those guys. And I applauded them quietly for the way they behaved. I'm sure we've all seen those people that get super bent out of shape when the world doesn't do exactly what they want it to do when they want it to do it, or they don't feel like they're being taken care of to the level of taken care of that they deserve, regardless of what the reality of the situation is or why that situation is there. So anyway, I just wanted to say kudos to you two gentlemen. I'm sure you won't see this video, but I'm glad to see that there's folks out there that are nice, good, quality, positive people, and it's not just when the camera's on you, or not just when you know you're going to be famous. It's when you're just being you, and you realize that being a good person can have a good effect on people. So thank you, gentlemen. Now let me concentrate on driving, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Well, welcome to my place. This is actually my office. For those of you who haven't seen an episode from The Office, this is it. It's my own little personal piece of paradise. It's not. It's a small room upstairs at the house. Katrina gets the big extra room because she's got a lot of crafty stuff. So I get the little closet space for my own personal usage. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about tonight is some of the ills, some of the evils, some of the bad about social media and this wonderful world we call the internet. And the reason that I want to focus on using this platform and what we're doing for good, and not for what typically is happening on the internet. As somebody who grew up with the internet, I was born in the very, very, very beginnings of the 1980s. So I grew up through the late 80s and through the 90s. And I am probably one of the old people of the grew up on the internet generation. So I had it through my entire, middle school, high school career, college career, and on obviously until now. So I've seen a lot of the developments and a lot of the changes on the internet from what it was originally to now. And a lot of it's great. A lot of it's the fact that, we have better access now to knowledge and statistics and information and entertainment than we've ever had before. We've got an easier way to connect to other people, whether it's the person down the hallway at the dorm or the person across town that you're friends with or the person across the planet that you don't even know. We have a faster connection to everybody. We have an easier way to connect to people that we've never even talked to than ever before, which is a great thing, or at least it should be. Unfortunately, as that whole thing progressed, it's kind of outstripped our humanity, I guess would be the easiest way to put this. Unfortunately, a lot of the advances that we have seen that could be used for great things are used for less than great things. It's not hard whatsoever to find anybody who or a post about somebody who's been cyberbullied or somebody who's had their world destroyed based on things that was said or done online, or that they have, that there are pictures of them doing or video of them doing. And it used to be for those in the older generations that grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, early 90s, there was a risk that your friends would see what you did, or somebody maybe had a disposable camera or Polaroid or something that would take a picture of you drunk at a party or something. But typically speaking, when you did something bad or dumb or foolish or just said something stupid, it went away. Unless you were that person that happened to be filming everything back in those days with a big old VHS camcorder, it went away. Or unless you happen to be the person that was there, the people that can tell stories about you from your younger years, those people are still around. But when you did something like that, they were forgotten eventually, right? For the most part, most of the world never saw them. And all of our online activity back in those days was also done in an alias, right? You were Joe Schmo the wrenching dude at AOL.com. You were Hot Body Ford at Hotmail.com. You were whatever you wanted to be. You lived your pseudonym. You were whoever you wanted to be on the internet. And it was very hard to combine those two. It was very hard to track those two things down and catch internet life up to real life. Well, over the last decade and a half or so, and specifically in the last decade, that's all really gone away. And the amount of bad that's now out there in the social media space is massive. It is massive. The amount of honestly ruin that you can find on the internet is just incredible. You say one thing that's bad or one thing that's critical of somebody, or you drunkenly make a video about something, or there's all kinds of ways. And once it's out there on the internet now, it's out there forever. I promise you, I have done thousands of dumb things in my life. Some of them have been on camera. Most of them were before this current generation of the internet. So most of you will never have seen Austin doing really massively, stupidly dumb things. Most of you will never hear tales of Austin doing stupidly dumb things. My transgressions and my misbehaviors in my 20s, which were 20 something years ago at this point in time, are pretty well gone and disappeared. So unless one of the people that happen to have shared that experience with me pipe up and post something, which hopefully isn't going to happen, but if it does, it ought to be some interesting conversation. The newer generations of kids and people, not even kids, really, honestly, even adults, maybe even more so adults, they don't have that right to be forgotten, right? They don't have that ability to move past something. Heaven forbid you send a boyfriend or girlfriend, or you film something with a boyfriend or girlfriend that's of a sexual nature, and it gets out on the internet, your whole future can be ruined job opportunities, career opportunities, educational opportunities, family opportunities. If something connects this person and or this image and that person's name together, and it may be something you did with a somebody that you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with, um, or you were drunk and you did something, and it ended up on somebody's phone and that got stolen or it got whatever. It ended up on the internet. Once it's there, it's never going to go away. And if it ever gets linked to your name or your face, and as facial recognition stuff becomes more and more and more and more of a thing, it's faster and faster to connect those two things. You used to be able to have a life that was the online life and the other life, right? Real world and online world. Well, those two worlds are getting closer and closer together. And for a lot of people, they're blending to the point where you cannot exist online and you cannot be forgiven what you do online because it will trace back to your offline world, your real world life. And I know more than a few people that have had massive, massive problems in their lives because of what they may have done when they were young, dumb, and on the internet. What also brings this back to mind is I just finished off at the PRI event, which is the Performance Racing Industry event. And one of my absolute favorite parts of that event is going to the Women in Motorsports panel. I love it. I'm there every single year. It's it is one of my absolute favorite, if not the most favorite part about PRI. They gather women all across motorsports, so drivers, wrenchers, team managers, social media people, everybody, anybody who's an accomplished female. They pull from all fields, and it's not just drag racing. It's all kinds of different racing, but every single one of those ladies, to a T, said the number one thing is social media. The number one thing to grow your career and the number one thing to grow your brand is social media. And I agree with that. And I'm on social media right now trying to grow a brand and build something. Social media is a fantastic tool to be able to get somewhere and to be able to grow without having to go through the pain of trying to grow like we used to. You used to have to get recognized by a scout, or you used to have to be just dumb lucky. You used to have to do all kinds of different things and then hope maybe somebody noticed you and put you in front of somebody that maybe would be able to give you a chance. Nowadays, you can really grassroots that. You can really grow up and build your brand on the internet without having to jump through those hoops, without having to hopefully meet one of those people that can change your life, right? Almost any of your major YouTubers now, they've pretty much just built their own brand off of they're going out and go-getting an attitude, right? A lot of your racers now, especially the younger racers, have come up in this social media world where they didn't have somebody that came out and scouted them, or they didn't grow up as in a millionaire family that put them in a racing seat for this series and then that series and then that series and then that series, and then they end up in Formula One. Most people, that's not their story. Is they develop a network of people and then they build themselves up. And then maybe sponsors notice them, and then they get a chance at a seat, and then they get a chance at racing, and it goes from there. And every single one of these ladies said that that's the way to get into it, is the social media side. The problem is the dark side of that, and the fact that we all need to be very conscious about and honest about some of the dangerous parts about being online and the social media space, especially if you're a female. Let's just be honest about it. It is more dangerous for females than it is for males. They do deal with a lot more toxic stuff as a female than we do as males. I cannot tell you the last time somebody made some sort of a pointed, inappropriate comment about me and what I'm wearing, regardless of what I'm wearing. And believe me, I've done some hilarious photos and things that I probably should not be wearing for my body type. We'll table that for another conversation. But female racers and females in general on social media have to deal with it constantly. And depending on your level of exposure, as far as how big your social media group is, how big your presence is, it might be a daily thing. It might be an hourly thing. It's a huge problem. And then if something happens to get out there, it can ruin your career. It can ruin your future. I was just reading a real quick thing on the Pew Research Center here. Teens in cyberbullying in 2022. Nearly half of U.S. teens have been bullied or harassed online, with physical appearance being seen as a relatively common reason why.
Older teen girls are especially likely to report being targeted by online abuse overall because of their appearance. So that's just reported facts. Just reported facts. And I promise you that number is way, way low. And it's something we need to talk about. It's something that we all need to be able to be honest about. And I use the phrase that our technology has outpaced our humanity pretty often. And it really is a shame because this should be the greatest time in human history, right? We have better access to everything, everything than we've ever had access to before in the history of humankind, unless you count Atlantis. And again, that's a different story. But more and more, we're having people that are getting detached. We're having people that are feeling lonely, depressed. They don't have opportunities. Their lives have been ruined by online gambling or pornography or whatever the case may be, or they've just had something embarrassing or damaging that's been posted about them, And it can truly, there are people who have ended their lives because of this kind of thing. And it's absolutely terrible. Of all the things we could be doing with this thing, that we could be focusing on and using all of this interconnectivity for, it's almost always not the good stuff. And that's why I really wanted to start this project, is because I wanted to be able to have a positive I want to have a positive nugget in all that ocean of negative. I want to start somewhere, and I know a lot of people believe me, and I know a lot of people have been through something like this or know somebody who has. It's horribly common, and it's super sad. And that's why I wanted to start this. That's why I wanted to start where I started, how I started this. And I want to keep this a force for the good. But I also want to be able to recognize the fact that there's a lot of negative out there. There's a lot of negative out there. And it's so easy for people to spread misinformation or rumors or tear each other down. I play video games as a way to blow off steam, as a way to kind of decompress my mind and burn up extra mental capacity. Not as much lately because I've got a lot of things I'm doing, but sometimes I just can't shut my brain off and I need to play a video game to be able to calm down. If you're in an online video game space, the negativity, the bullying, the word usage, it's also so almost to a T, so focused on individual achievement. So focused on what's in it for me. I need to get this. I want that. I've got to get this before that guy gets it. I don't care about him, that guy, And it didn't really used to be that way. Even speaking as an aging gamer, as an older gamer, we used to play online role-playing games together, and you had to work as a team to be able to get anything accomplished. You helped each other because that was the only way to move forward. That was the only way to get to a major accomplishment, was to be able to have a team that you could count on. It wasn't just about you, me, my equipment, my loadout, my pile of money, my whatever, me. It wasn't about that. It was about what we could do together. It was about we as a team, and we grew as a team, and we built friendships of that. I came up through the entirety of the MMO world, massive multiplayer online role-playing game for all of you older folks. But I grew up in that generation that played a ton of those games, oftentimes to the detriment of our relationships, employment, or education, or all three of those. But you developed friendships. I have lifelong friends that I've met through video games, or that I cemented my friendships through video games. That's what we did. And I still have friends that almost the only time I ever see them or talk to them is through video gaming. It's a great medium for doing that. But every time I'm logged in and I'm playing a video game, I'm seeing negativity. I'm seeing name calling. I'm seeing just stupid, asinine behavior. And a lot of it's from grown people. It's not just kids being kids. It's men who are mental midgets for the most time. Just calling it what it is. Anyway, that's what I wanted to focus on tonight. I wanted to talk about this because it's been kicking around in my brain. I had such a great time with the ladies at the Women in Motorsports thing. I love it every single time I'm there. But there's so much of that conversation that we don't have that I think is super important to have. And it's not just for women, and it's not just for teens. It's also older generations that are getting disconnected, and their families are further away from them. They're not as focused on helping to support that family member anymore. We're not there anymore. And social media can be nice. Like my mom and my father, I don't get to see them nearly as much now as I used to, but they can catch up on what's going on in my life. They can keep tabs of me here. They can see what I'm doing because I've overshared my entire life here on social media. But I'm a bearded fat guy, so who's got way too much ego. So a troll in the comment section here is not going to faze me. Nobody's going to make a sexualized comment about me. If you'd like to, go right ahead. And it's not going to faze me in any way. But there's a lot of people that can absolutely faze them. It's a huge thing, and it's unfortunately it's not really getting any better. It's not getting any better. Like I said, I want to use this for a force for good. Now, I don't know how it is that we impact the digital space with this project. I don't know if that's even possible. If you guys have got any ideas, pass them along. Let me know. Put them in the description or in the comment section down there. By the way, if you've made it this far, thank you very much. This is Good Things for Good People. We're all over the board as far as content goes. Excuse me. And as far as conversation goes, whatever it's going to be, these are completely unscripted. I don't do any of this. There's none of this pre-scripted. This is just shooting off the cuff and going for it. I want to keep this very honest and very flow. I don't want to come off as overly produced or professional about this kind of thing because I don't think that's as connecting. I think you guys being able to sit down in the office with me and have these kind of conversations, or sit at dinner or wherever and just have these kind of conversations as if you and I were sitting down having a drink or having dinner together, I think is more approachable and is more interesting and is more honest. It's the same thing I want to say with the analytics. I want us to be understanding of how those analytics are going. I want to talk about the fact that, we're growing the channel, where we are, when we're making money, how much money we're making off the channel, what we're going to be able to do with the revenue that we're making for it. I'm going to be above board on all that kind of stuff. I don't want to hide any of that. I want us to all be part of the team that's making this successful. And I want everybody to realize that this is an us thing. This is not just me creating content and being super popular and lots of people paying attention to it and making me millions of dollars. That's not what I'm looking to do here. What I am looking to do here is I'm wanting to build a community that really believes in this and that can expand this message, and we can bring more people into this. And the more and more people we do with this, the better and better it's going to be, and the more people we can positively impact. And it's not necessarily even people that are outside this project that we could positively impact. It could be you. It could be somebody that needs to have some positivity in their life, that needs to have people that would support them. If you're having a bad time of things, put it in the comment section. If you need a little cheer me up, put it in the comment section. I guarantee you there are 500 plus people that are in this YouTube channel. Some of them are going to be either able to help you or going to be at least willing to listen, will give you some encouragement, or have been through the same thing. Because that's what it's all about when you build a community. It's not about you. It's about us. What we can do. Right? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Again, I apologize getting these videos up so late lately. I've been burning the candle at both ends, and I'm not giving up on this project. Far from it. It's just hard to squeeze in the time. So thanks for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night. Bye-bye.